Hey,
She's like, I got this.
I gotta bring it out.
Whoa. There we go.
Good
Once we keep it going.
Yeah, I can't stop.
Hey ladies.
Hi.
And hello to all of our friends. Welcome to another episode of the Boss Babes in Real Estate podcast. We're so happy you guys could join us, and we're so happy to have Kendra with us. So we're going to check in all the way around.
Lena Torres, Easies.
Stephanie.
Kendra.
Gabby.
LV.
All right. So we have Kendra Davies. She's a life coach. I met her at one of her networking events, Winning Wednesdays at DoveCote, and it's free, so you guys should absolutely check it out.
Yeah. So thanks for having me. This is an awesome opportunity, I think, for me, just because I feel like my vein has been women, and I host women's retreats and I do women's workshops, and I'm really excited to be here and speak to a wider audience of women, especially
Wonderful.
locally, especially powerful women who are entrepreneurial in spirit and in mind and are ready to dominate.
What a black description, you know?
So I'm very excited. Like
Yeah.
the
We're
energy at
excited
this
to have
table
you.
is like fire.
That's awesome.
So
Fire.
It's very nice. So I appreciate that. So thanks for having me.
No, thank you for being here with us and
Yeah.
sharing this time.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
So we met at Winning Wednesdays, which is my free networking
Incredible.
event. And it is the first Wednesday of every month, and it is at DoveCote downtown. And we met, and I was talking about goals.
Yep.
And when you asked me about the podcast, you asked what I would want to talk about. And the thing that resonates most to me and what I think that so many women really respond to is living within your values. Like,
Yes.
if we were to
Absolutely.
poll an entire room and say, like, what do you want most out of life?
Yeah.
We're going to say, I want to be happy.
Yes.
But then,
What's
as a,
happy?
What makes you happy?
Exactly.
What makes you
What
happy?
makes you
Exactly.
happy? What is happiness for you?
But how do you define it, right? Because happiness is this totally subjective thing. So how I would define happiness and how you would define happiness is totally different,
Yeah.
right? And then you toss in society and culture and your parents and like media and everything else
Exactly.
that tells you what beauty is and what happiness is and what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a boss or a boss babe. Right?
Exactly.
Like you get all of this information, and I really look at my job as a coach and as somebody who walks with people on this journey. It's really about defining what those things are for you. And to
Yes.
me, the foundation that you lay before you build your house is values. Like,
Exactly.
what is most important to you? What are the things that drive you? You know, like if your life ended tomorrow and the person who knows you best stood up and talked about you, what are the three things that they're going to
Those
identify
are
about
really
you?
tough questions
Yeah.
to have.
Yeah.
To analyze, you know, like
Yeah.
as a person, we just like focusing and like focusing.
Yeah.
And like what? And like just what society is telling us to be, to do, and to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just forget about what is really making us happy and what do we really need to work as a person.
Yeah. And I think that, like, if you were to say, what's at the root of all of the problems? Like, if I was to really peel off the layers for every client that I've ever had or every woman that's come on a retreat with me,
Yeah.
I think it always comes down to living outside your values. Like, if you are not living within your values, if you're in that relationship and you know it's done, you know there's love is not being served, but you're staying, you're living outside your values. When you're in that job that you know that you hate, it's sucking your soul, and you keep going back day after day, and you're not making your plan, you're not scheming, you're not trying to get out, you're living outside of your values. And if you have none of those things, if you're just sitting on the couch and you're just like letting your life go by and you're thinking to yourself, I'm letting my life go by, like what am I doing? You're living outside your values.
Yes, exactly.
So that foundation is not only just identifying and defining it, but like letting it empower you. It's like
Well,
it's the
I think
spark.
that's amazing what you do. You're helping other women, but I'm
Yeah.
sure you have to practice it yourself.
Heck
you have
yes.
to practice what you preach. So how do you
Right.
get into what you're doing today? How do you start it?
How do you
Life coaching?
identifying those values? What
For
your
myself.
values
Yeah.
are? Well, for anybody, how do you
Yeah.
identify your values?
So I would say, like, I always give people a list of values. Like, if you just go on Google and you're like, personal values list, like, you're gonna get a list of values.
Yes.
You can just start there. You don't have to create the list or have the
Yeah.
language yourself. So I usually give people the values list, and I started with a values list, and I just pulled off the things that I wanted. And it's really important here to remember that we're always choosing our values, so whether they're positive or negative.
Yes.
So if you are valuing disappointment, or if you're valuing dishonesty, or if you're valuing social status, those negative values can reap negative consequences.
Yes,
Does
and
that
I
make
think
sense?
it's and I think that's we look at that. It depends on the part of our lives too. Like we're in, like sometimes we probably like in a difficult situation, and we start like looking at to different like to the negative values and stuff like that, and that's
Yeah.
how we start like building and creating this like this craziness in our heads
Yeah,
too.
the cycles, yeah.
Exactly, like the cycles, exactly.
I think that what's really important about what you're saying is like you keep saying you need to identify what your values are, right? Because a lot of the time and a lot of people are living like through their parents' values
Yes.
or through what they were taught in school values,
Right.
not their own values.
Yeah.
Right? And I
Yeah.
think that that's something that can change, right?
100%.
Totally.
With time. So
We're all different.
it's
Yeah.
really good to, I guess, I have to go back and ask myself these questions,
Right,
right?
you do. We all do. And like the thing is like your values, like let's say, I always use honesty as a good example because you would think that there's only one definition for honesty, and like we all are subscribing to that. And but that's not true. Like what I define as honesty and what you define as honesty are going to be different. And for you, you might say honesty is like telling it how it is and being a straight shooter and tell you what I think and how I feel. And I was walking around and I was just totally obsessed with being honest. Like I'm such an honest person.
Right.
Honesty is my core value.
Right.
And my mentor was like, Kendra, is it though? And I'm like, yeah, of course. I shoot straight from the hip. I tell it how it is. I can confront you with love.
Yes.
But I can do that. Like I'm not afraid of that. And he said, yeah, okay. We'll go 24 hours without telling a single lie. Not one lie. If honesty is honesty and it's black and white and it's just shooting it straight and it's doing the thing no matter what, then just go 24 hours without telling a lie. And I realized like that's not how it works. Like it's really not how it works, Like,
Right.
hey, do you want to go to that party? Yeah. Not really.
No.
Right.
No.
But I say yes and then I bail on you later.
Yes.
Or, does that dress look good? I mean, all y'all look fly, so that's not an appropriate example for this table.
I'm picturing the Jim Carrey movie. What is it called?
That you
Liar,
can
liar.
Liar, liar.
Yeah.
He can't
Yes.
lie for
Yes.
24 hours.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
So like through this exercise, through this practice, and I ended up doing it for much longer than 24 hours. Well, what I learned for me is that I define being honest by saying things with love and compassion. Like that's my definition.
That's beautiful.
So if
Yeah.
I can say it with love and compassion, then it's honest. And if I cannot say it without love and compassion, it is not honest.
I'm not being honest. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
But that was like my personal venture. Like I had to walk that walk and experience that and realize, wow, I love this person. I can't tell them the thought that I just thought.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
I was gonna say that when you said your honesty
Yeah.
with love and compassion, the other person is gonna take it like in a different way too.
Exactly.
So it's not gonna be like a confrontation. It's not gonna be like, oh my God, we're gonna fight because I just told you how I feel, how I
Yeah.
really feel. So when you say things with love and compassion, I'm sure like the reaction from the other person was totally different.
100%.
More receiving.
Yeah.
It's not even just that they're more receiving. It's that even if they don't receive it well, I know
You
for a
delivered it.
fact I was within my values.
Exactly.
So I can say to you, you know
You
what?
feel better.
I love you. That is not at all how I intended it. Maybe I could have said it differently. I'm not going to take your reaction personal because I know that it came from love
Yes.
and compassion for myself.
I like that.
We need
And
that.
for
We need that.
example,
We need to learn that, how to say
when
things with love and
when
compassion.
people are stuck, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, but why? Why am I like? I know I have to do this, but I can't do it. Or like, do you think it's a value thing? If they're not living
Good-
within there, they have
give an
that
example.
identified.
Because I want to know if like where I could attack this. When like give an example of like what
For
would something-
example, let's say you know that you have to accomplish certain goals, or
Uh-huh.
but you feel stuck, right? You feel not motivated enough, or like do you think it's a lack of values, or you have not identified your values, and that's why keeps people from not reaching that full potential or their goals?
I mean, my short answer is yes, but I also think that, and girl, you can't get me started on goals. I'm a dragon slayer. You know what I'm saying? Like I know some things about goals, but I'm gonna keep it to the question about values. So I believe that there is like a remoteness of values. So like if I have the goal, and I use this as an example frequently in like my goal setting workshops, where in the beginning of my career, I started out with money goals. And I was like, I want to make this dollar amount. And I was very specific. And it was completely unrealistic for where I was, right? And it's entertaining. However, but what I found was that even if I hit the goal, I wasn't fulfilled. Like it was still just a crappy experience. And what it was for me was that it was remote from my values because I'm not money motivated. Like money is not the thing that drives me. So the goal itself was remote from my values.
Yeah.
What drives me is like meaning. So
Exactly.
how am I making those dollars? Because when I'm making meaning and I'm making money, then I'm like complete.
Exactly.
It's like
Yes.
I have my fulfillment and I have those things. It just requires the work
Yes.
and the time to go inward and really define what it means.
And having that talk with yourself, and that's
Yes.
super hard. I can't.
Yeah.
So how do you? Well,
That's why you
how
get
are
a
your
coach.
work exactly? So let's say
help you
I want
navigate,
to,
right?
yeah. So I want to get a coach.
Yeah.
Let's say I want to start working with you. How
Tell
does
me more about that.
How does the process work?
Yeah.
Is it different with everyone that you meet, or you have some standards of how you? Work?
So I practice positive psychology coaching. So that is kind of like my lane or methodology. But my approach in one-on-one coaching is not cookie cutter. Like not everybody walks in and they start at the level 1 stellar life coaching program. So it's very much one-on-one. It's about where you're at right now in your life, what it is that you want to accomplish, and really how self-aware you already are. Like how much work are you already doing and where are you at? Some people come to me and they're like, my life is an 8. I want it to be a 10. Some people come to me and they're like, I'm like a solid 3. I just need to get to a 5 so I can feel like I can breathe again. And then I feel like I'm going to be okay. You know, it's like wherever you're at, whatever your goals are, it kind of goes from there.
And you meet with them like once a week, every. Other...
Yes. So typically I meet with my one-on-one clients once a week
Okay.
for an hour.
That's wonderful.
And then when they, I mean, I don't want it to be a sales pitch, but if you're but I mean,
No, you
if
have
we're
the
talking
opportunity.
about it, if
You
you're
have
just
the
curious.
opportunity. That's why you're
So,
here too, because
yeah.
we're giving you the opportunity to open up, because we have a lot of followers now too, and you can tell them, because we all need that.
Yeah.
Like I was just, listening to you and thinking, I'm like, I do need that, because sometimes we work a lot and we accomplish our goals and we feel great, but then we feel like I have guilt, like mom guilt all the time, because I work a lot. So then I'm with my daughter and I'm like, oh my God, I should spend more time with her too. Like those type of things that are not helping me feel all the way to 10.
imbalance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those are things we all can use for sure.
100%. So what it typically looks like is I would meet with clients once a week for an hour, and then for my clients that engage in my larger packages of more sessions, like somebody who's committed to working with me for months or a year or more, those people have access to me in between sessions.
Okay.
So anything less than 30 minutes is free, and it doesn't count as part of the package. And it's just so, because the magic happens outside of my office.
Yeah.
Like when we're together,
Yes.
you're like, yeah, hell yes. Everything you're saying makes total sense and I'm good to go. And then you walk out and then
Life
life
happens.
Murphy's.
That Murphy life happens and you're like, oh my God, what did she say? What am I supposed to do here? What are my values?
Yeah.
And so to just have that lifeline, that coach that's on the side saying,
Exactly.
call me in that moment. Do not wait till it's over. Don't wait till the
Like,
ring
wait
is
a
on
minute
fire.
before I made the mistake.
Exactly. Like, listen, I'm about to get confronted. I'm walking into the dragon's den. Like, let's get centered. You know what I mean? Take it to my side.
The meme of the girl's like, I'm trying to be nice, but people are trying me.
Yes.
to be
Yes.
You have to work on that, like you have to work on that, because
huge.
when
Yeah,
you
that's
spend that
huge.
energy and things that you don't need to, just like take
Yeah.
a deep breath and just walk away.
Yeah.
Like it's not necessary.
Exactly, and really about values, what we're just talking about, I think Lily said a really important thing, which is really finding your own values. Because like she said, your parents, school, this, that, they instill these values in you.
Yeah.
They program you, right?
Yeah.
Like this is how it should be. This is how it goes. And this is how life should be.
Yeah.
But that might not work for you, right?
No,
That might
exactly.
not, those values might not work for you. So it's okay to say, okay, I don't share the same values with my mom, with my dad, with my sister, but these are the values that work for me, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're gonna live you're gonna live in honesty, you know, and a true life that where you are happy and sincere because you're living your life.
But I
Yes.
think you're like people don't do that because they're afraid to be judged. And
Right.
people tend to do that a
Exactly.
lot.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh my God, but she's the daughter of this and this. Why is she acting like that? You know, like their values of their family and stuff like that. So
Exactly.
people sometimes get like afraid of being judged. And
For sure.
I think you're happy for me, when you stay true to yourself.
Yes.
Like that's for me when you're the most, for me, when I'm happy.
Yes.
When me and myself. Like
That's
I don't
it.
have
Me
to,
too.
you know.
When people are like, well, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I just make you as possible.
Mm.
That is my
That's
goal.
beautiful.
Like, I just like as you as possible because at the end of the day, if your life ends tomorrow, the worst thing that you can do is look back and be like, I lived for them.
exactly.
You know, like,
Yeah.
or my kid's gonna grow up and I'm gonna pass on that poison.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pass on that codependence. I'm gonna pass on
Yes.
that pathological lying.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Yes.
pass on these toxic traits that I
Yes.
grew up with, that
Yeah.
stunted me,
Yeah.
that challenged me.
I'm not gonna break
Exactly.
free.
Yes.
So
So-
here's the thing too. Like I feel like I don't know. My parents come from that old school mentality, right? And probably most of yours
Yeah.
do too.
Right.
So I think that it's also our job to educate them, right? Because they come from, like my mother, for example, you know, a suppressed place where women do everything. The man makes all the decisions. You know what I mean? She will
Honey,
always,
you're not cooking.
What
What are you doing? You
better
don't
be
need that jacket for the kitchen.
cooking,
Yeah.
cleaning,
Right. Yeah.
ironing, right? And we live in a different world now, right? So it's our job to educate them as well.
Yeah, that is
You know-
not wrong, it's different.
Yes.
And our kids to be
Yeah.
independent. Like
Yeah.
I tell my daughter all the time too. Like you have you need a job. Like you're
Yeah.
9 years old, but don't depend on nobody. But don't depend on nobody.
16.
Oh,
You
yes.
need to know you're working.
Like,
Don't tell me that. She
already.
already started a business.
Yeah, she did. And I'll tell you guys later about that. But yes, it's amazing because I'm trying to create her like that mentality. You
Yeah.
don't have to depend on anybody.
Yeah.
You have to do something that makes you happy.
Yeah.
You happy.
And do you know? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think the best way to educate and the best way to pass them down is to learn how to live them so fully that if you didn't speak a word, your daughter would be like,
I know
my
what to
mom
do.
values independence.
Yes.
I value independence.
Exactly.
Like when people are like, how do I find my values or how do I know what it is? I ask people like, who is the most influential person to you? And just from what you see or have heard of them or read of theirs, like what values would you identify? Because the thing is that we think that values are like some subjective, fluffy thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But I can give you specific behaviors for honesty. I can give you specific behaviors for love. And I can give you specific behaviors that I would recognize as compassionate.
Yeah.
Like I can do that. We all can.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like when we actually recognize, oh wait, this isn't just some hypothetical, like, oh my gosh, I love love. You know? It's just like how do I live love?
Yes.
I'm kind, I'm affectionate, I'm not afraid to touch you. Like I'm not afraid to move in. Like when I see you crying, I'm gonna comfort you.
Yeah.
Like those are acts of love to me.
Right.
When my son grabs my cheeks and just wants to look into my eyes, you know, I allow
Does.
my tears to come.
Yeah.
That's love. That vulnerability is
Yeah.
love.
Exactly.
Like I can pinpoint the behaviors.
Because my son my son just did that to me this morning.
He's so loving.
He is.
Yeah.
He is so loving.
And everyone knows every time I drop him off at school or I have to leave, like it's a cry fest for me. I'm like, hold on, I have to cry every single time.
Let me just get this out of the way.
Yeah, he's 8.
Mine is 7. I get it. 100%. So on like the topic of like momming. So in 2018, I I decided, because I do this rigorous goal setting thing for myself every year, and I have a workshop for it. It's called the Slay Sessions. You should check it out.
Slay
Yes.
Sessions. We like that.
Yes.
I love that.
So in the process, like I was going through my values, and I had this thing where I was like, I want to have family dinners. You know, I want to have family dinners. I want to cook. I want to do those things. Like, and I want to clean house. Like, I was tired of feeling like crowded and cluttered, and so I had all these goals. And year after year, I had these goals, and I wasn't doing them. It just wasn't happening. And so last year, I'm like, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I'm not going to cook. And I'm not going to clean my own fucking house. And you're welcome. Like, I'm just not going to do it. And what I found was that I had this belief that in order to be a good mom, I had to be willing to work. I work 6 days a week. I'm going to have to figure out how to get all of these groceries in on time, the meat thawed on time. Like, I have to be home, get it prepared, because my kid can't eat after 7 or he gets sick. So it's like, I have to have everything done in this allotted schedule every single day. The stress.
It's stressful.
Like, the stress and the weight of it. But it wasn't just the act of having dinner. It was that I thought that I was a bad mom because I wasn't doing it.
Oh my God, I can relate with you. What did you do?
I stopped.
I'm like, help me.
I gave it up. I gave it up. So, like, I cook for my son. Like, my son eats specific foods, and I prepare those foods. But, like, I buy freshly prepared food for my meals.
Okay.
I'm not worried about cooking anymore. I hired a maid. She comes and she cleans my house every week.
That's
and
what I
let me
did.
tell you something. I save more than $400 a month.
Yeah.
I am not throwing away food every single time the trash man comes. And,
Are
like,
you not stressed?
I have so many hours back.
And plus, you
no
have to look
stress.
good. You have to, you have to go to work, look good and everything, especially in our industry, that we have to look, presentable. I'm like, like, this
I need
is
more
too
hours
much.
in the
I
day.
do.
So like,
the cooking area.
hiring a meal prep company, or just going and like pay somebody to meal prep for you.
Oh,
like,
yes,
throw
that
money
sounds
at the
wonderful.
thing.
Net time.
Because here's the thing.
Make your life, if anybody knows, like,
throwing money at
no,
the thing.
like,
I'm
if
like,
anybody
here's
knows,
money,
like,
make it go away.
if anybody knows like a good company, like, send me a link so I can like buy the meal prep.
yeah.
Yes. Hey, Alex. Now you heard that.
And this is the thing. Like, when I made that commitment, like, I made it fully. And so when it comes down to my house being a certain way or wanting it a certain way, like, I can own the in between, but I know when Paulette is coming.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like I am set. Like, my kid knows. Like, it's part of our lives, and I'm saving money. I'm
Yes.
saving time, and I am a better mom because of it. Because now when we do sit down.
Yes.
When we do sit down, I'm actually able to be
Spending
there.
time.
I can put my phone down because I didn't have to not be on my phone for 3.5 hours to go to the grocery store and get the food thawed and then prepped and then cooked and then eat and then like all the things.
Yeah.
I can actually put my phone down and enjoy my son.
But you know
That's
what?
wonderful.
Parenting and values, like you were saying about Mia, I feel like sometimes, what about, okay, so you're not going to be perfect as a parent, but you're the one putting in values to your kids, right? So then you learn after, when you grow and you pick what values you think are good for you and which ones are not, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what age that will be. But for example, sometimes I'm thinking like, I blame my parents, for example. I shouldn't, but I'm like, when I was younger, they put me in piano. I love piano, but I was like, I don't want to do piano anymore. Let's do something else. And then, okay. I've been so independent forever. They always let me do whatever I thought. But I was 7, 8, 9 years old.
You need also structure, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
So how do you learn after?
After?
Yeah.
So is
after
the question for like you or for them?
for me, because now since they didn't put the structure, because I was always so
Independent.
free and independent. Like I decided at 18 that I wanted to move out of Venezuela to Orlando by myself, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God I made
That's
it.
what I did.
I'm here. I'm alive. I'm happy.
I think that I personally, as a mother, I think that that's just what you give your child is like they gave you the gift of being somebody who's independent instead of
Yeah.
somebody who's codependent. Do you know what I mean? Like,
True.
they raised you to be this strong boss babe that you are today at 27. And that's kind of like, you don't think you have the structure, but that's your structure.
True. That
Good.
can be true.
That's what I see it
Take it
as.
as a,
you
take it
know?
as a gift.
Yeah.
Don't take it like as a negative thing. Like, why they let me do everything by myself?
Yeah.
No,
I
like,
wish I would have had a little more.
Yeah,
structure,
because
though.
otherwise
Yeah,
I think you
never
would have
know.
been constrained to the constraints of society.
Well, it
and what they
depends
expect
because
of
I
you,
think
and
that
you really
it's
don't.
not like I do believe like I don't have kids, but I do believe that kids need structure and discipline. So if it's fine, you can choose whatever you want. Like for example, she picked piano, right? Okay, you want to do piano? Are you gonna be fully committed to piano? Okay, then you have to stay committed to piano. Not like, oh, I didn't like it and then I want to do this. Like because then you don't instruct your child to be
Yeah.
disciplined, and you do need discipline in life.
That's what I
So,
do.
You know, that's
Maybe I feel like they should have pushed me a little more. But why don't
Yeah.
you like piano? But
exactly.
but,
Keep
but
asking.
maybe
why.
I liked it, but I was like bored, and I
Yeah,
wanted to do
exactly.
something else because I was a kid.
Because it
Yeah.
takes
Yeah.
work
Exactly.
to get good.
Yes.
Exactly.
I don't want to do the
So
work.
like, I don't necessarily think that in this particular example that it's about values. You know what I mean? I feel like my approach on parenting is the same as for my clients. I want my kid to be as him as possible. And like, I'm not going to tell him, no, you need to stick with piano. I'm not going to do that. Like, you tell me you don't like piano,
Yeah.
you don't like piano.
Exactly.
You want to underwater basket weave? Great. We're going to underwater basket weave. I'm going to do some research. I'll watch some YouTube
Yes.
videos. We're gonna do
we
this.
learn how to do this.
Exactly. Like, whatever you want to do, we're going to do.
Yeah.
And here's what I know as somebody who works with adults now. Like, what I get is grown-ass adults who sit on my sofa and they say, I don't know what I like. Well, what have you done? Well, I did piano when I was a kid, but it was the only thing I ever did. So, but
You
like,
haven't
I can't-
tried anything else.
I've never done anything else. I've only done that.
Gotcha.
Do you get what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
if you go on either end of the spectrum, you're going to have those consequences. But what I think is beautiful is kind of like what Stephanie was saying. Like, you were built in such a way that you looked at the world and you said, I can do it.
Yes.
Like, I can. You want to play the piano? Go back and play the piano. Girl, you know you can.
Yeah.
Right?
Want to do something
You
else?
want to learn the
about it?
violin? Shit,
Yeah.
you know you can. Like,
Exactly.
look at what you've already done.
True.
Does that make sense? So, and I
You
feel like,
definitely put it in a different
They
perspective.
trust in
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's true.
Well, yeah.
And
I don't blame
I
them.
want to cry now.
You guys
I don't know.
are
You know, this is I mean, this to me, this is a
There's not
touchy
very many
subject.
18-year-olds
It's a touchy subject
who-
because everybody does their parenting differently. And even though I don't have kids, I feel like a lot of millennials nowadays, they feel entitled and they don't know what the hell they want to do because they do everything. They do everything. They try. They want to give up. They give like
Giving
Wait,
up.
wait.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go
So
into that relationships. Why? For
That's
me,
all relationships
I'm not
the same
an
way.
expert, but what I'm hearing,
oh, I am, for sure.
what I'm hearing from other people is like, oh, he didn't do this, I'll get the next one because
Yeah.
it's so easy to find people now through Instagram, to social, like the
Your
social,
options are
your
broad.
options are bigger than before.
No,
like my
like,
parents
so
used
people
to
don't know what it
communicate
is
through
to
letters
work
when
for
they
things
separated
and have
Right.
that discipline and stay committed.
Exactly.
Because if you don't commit, you don't like it. You don't like it. Okay, cool.
I actually think I have an
I
opinion
don't
about
like
that,
it.
and I think that what it is that people are making a choice way too soon. Like, it's just like you meet a guy and then you swiped, and so everybody's like, oh, there's no chase, there's no courting, there's
Yes.
no getting to know each other. So it's like we're just gonna like be together in this weird dynamic, and then we're done because you never actually did the work of getting to know that
But
person.
see
first.
what you're saying. You didn't do the work, right? Same as with a sport, music. If they don't do the work, how are you going to know? You just give up. Okay, cool. You change your mind.
Right.
You know that I feel that that's not also the answer. So
Taking it
you
back,
know,
my parents were amazing. I have nothing to complain. But I feel like what I learned from them is that for my kids,
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah.
Vacations, you're waking up at 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like I know, it's not because you're on
Yeah.
vacation. You're gonna wake up at 11, 12. No, because I used to do that.
Uh-huh.
And now I hate. I'm not a morning person. I keep
Yeah.
saying
It's
to myself
balance.
that.
I think it's
But
balance. you
it's
know?
like I feel like if
Find
you
the
have
balance.
I think it's really important to like honor who you,
You are.
And I think that like I get a lot of procrastination, for instance. People always say, oh my God, I procrastinate. But my question is, but are you still a badass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if
Right.
you procrastinate, but you're still a badass, then maybe you just need to let yourself off the hook and recognize that you operate better under those circumstances.
Exactly.
And just accept that you're a badass and you're going to do it last minute. Like, Like,
That's what I used to do in
texted my
college.
speaking points. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
That's what I used to do in college. I used to work better under pressure.
yeah.
You know, like everything last minute. And like nursing school is not a joke. So
Yeah.
I was like always doing everything last minute, but it was better for me because
Yeah.
I remember everything for the test, like the next day and stuff like that. So.
And so like you're not a morning person. If I was working with a client who's like, I'm not a morning person, then I'm like, excellent. Pin that up on the board.
Yeah.
You're not a morning person. I'm not going to ask you to
That's
get
it.
up early and go to the gym because you're not going to do it. And like if we can accept that we just are who we are. Some people like
Exactly.
mornings, some people don't like mornings.
Yeah.
Some people want to do this, some people don't want to do that. And that's fine. I feel like the societal thing.
The 5
a.m. club, girls.
Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah, like
I feel like that's
there
the
is-
thing. There's the thing. It is. I agree in a lot of what she's saying about owning who you are, because there are certain things that you put yourself that are not realistic. You know, that's not. They're not. Don't align with who you are. So own and know who you are, because just because somebody else is running 2 hours a day, you that's not you. Don't.
Exactly.
That's not you.
Yes.
But still try to implement the habit of being healthy. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? But do it a different way. Find a way that works for you. I think
Exactly.
is
At the
what.
end of the day, make
And
it
that's
happen.
when it
matters
comes,
at the
like
end of the day.
respect comes. You know, like you have to respect the way the others are too.
Right.
Because not everybody likes the same things.
I think it actually comes down to like, is it within my values to care so much about what time you're waking up?
Yeah.
Right.
Come like the answer is no.
Yes.
Like no, like if I'm caring for myself, I'm going to be way too busy caring for all of this
Yes.
than to be worried about how you're living.
Exactly.
So like when I sit down with somebody and then like they immediately start giving me all of the judgments of everybody else in their life, and then my assistant does this, and my son does this, and my boyfriend does this, and my husband does that, and blah 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 blah. It's like,
Ooh, they
whoa,
got a
whoa.
boyfriend and a husband?
I'm just saying.
I like your
It's
clients.
2020. It's 2020. Like it's like whenever it's about everyone else,
Right.
Yeah.
I know it's because there's a lack of focus on the self.
You
Like-
want to blame everybody else.
It's not even just about blame though. Like that's what I mean. It's like
Paying
think
attention
about
to
it
it.
like it's like a way to protect myself. It's not blame for blame's sake because I'm a bad person and I'm lazy and I'm not responsible. It's that I'm overwhelmed. Like I am struggling to be myself and I'm not taking care of myself and I don't know where I end and my kid begins and like I can't manage the schedules and I'm overwhelmed. And so at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? If you would have done this, my day would have been better. I would have been able to do this, this, and this, and this, and this so much easier if you just would have done this the way that I want it done.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like coaching has offered me this lens of compassion where I can see anybody exactly where they're at, like in the middle of the shit, like
Yeah.
blaming, snarling, just in the ick. And I can be like, wow. What is the work that needs to be done here? You know what I mean? Like, this isn't a bad person. This isn't a person who doesn't care. This isn't a person who's shut down or lazy or millennial or Gen X or whatever. It's like none of that matters.
Yeah.
If you are focused on other people, it's a lack of focus in yourself.
Yes.
And if you're too focused on yourself, you know what I mean?
Then you have a
there's
problem.
no consideration of others.
Exactly.
You get what I mean? So
It's all a balance,
It's a
like
balance.
everything.
Right.
Everything is a balance.
Exactly.
and the only way to find balance is to know what your parameters are. How do you define it?
The
What does it
values.
mean to be a woman?
Yes.
What does it mean to be Latina? What does it mean to be a Latina woman? Like
Yes.
specifically, what does it mean to be a
A
coach?
Latino real estate woman.
Thank you.
I mean, come on.
But these are real things. These
Yeah.
are real things that if you don't define it for yourself, somebody else is going to put it on you,
Yeah.
and you're going to live. And
The
even if
label.
you make the money, and even if you have the success, it's going to feel unfulfilling.
Exactly.
Well,
Thank you
so much, Kendra. That was
Kendra.
amazing.
Is it over
Yes.
already?
Yeah.
You want to keep going?
I knew
I
we
wanna
wish we had
keep
more
going.
time to keep going,
this
and maybe
is
we'll have her
beautiful.
back for
Thank you
another
so much.
time.
But you guys can
Yeah.
check her out at Winning Wednesdays
Yes.
or
Yeah.
sign up for coaching with her.
And
Tell her,
Go
let
to
her say.
stellarlifecoaching.com.
Got it.
Life-coaching.
And we would like to end. I'm sorry. Do you have something else to say?
Let her keep selling. Sell it, girl.
Just,
Sell it.
I'm just saying that we do have the phoenixretreat.com as
Cool.
well. So we have 4 retreats this year. We are going to North Carolina, Bali, and Costa
Lovely.
Rica.
Nice.
Hey,
So,
the Phoenix
Bali,
retreat.
That's on my
Lily.
2020
Costa Rica.
Wow, the Phoenix
Imagine
retreat.
that.
Imagine
Retreat.
that.
That is good, Valley.
Okay.
I'm going to be going in August. You should probably come.
Nice.
Okay.
So
Okay.
calendar. Check out thephoenixretreat.com, stellarlifecoaching.com. You can follow me on Instagram at stellarcoach.
Stellar coach.
Perfect.
We'll leave
Thank
the
you so
information,
more.
too.
Thank you so much for coming and
Yeah.
sharing
Thanks
this
for having us.
information
Thank you.
with us. And we would like to close the episode with a quote that says, "Your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny."
All
By
right.
Gandhi. Gandhi said that. So keep
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you next week.